Well, hello there, and welcome back to part 2 of our superhero episode. Now that you know some basics, it's time to hop right in and draw Spider-Man. It's not as hard as it looks. So here we go. This is going to be amazing. Okay, you ready to draw Spider-Man? I sure am. This is going to be terrific. So I've got a number 2 pencil. Then I've got my art gum eraser. Very important to have that eraser with you. And let's begin. So we can put some of those ideas that we talked about in our figure drawing last time to use here now. So this will be a little more complicated. I hope I don't scare you away. Nah. Okay, so we'll begin with Spider-Man's head in here, and you'll notice when I'm sketching this way I sketch very lightly, and if you keep correcting, make little minor corrections on these sketches, you get a really pretty true looking oval if you keep working at it, your basic shapes like that. Okay, Spidey's head, there we go. And let's divide his head into 2 pieces, kind of. That's useful for like positioning of things later on, like his eyes, and he doesn't really have a nose, but there may be a little bit of a flat spot here where his chin is later on. I'm not quite sure. Okay, we got a head. Let's take that head and we'll move down. This time we're not going to go straight down. We're going to take his body line here, and he's all crouched up. Spider-Man's always getting all kind of crouched up when he's doing his jumps off buildings and what have you. So in this position, his body's crouched down. You'll see that more in a minute. And then we'll do his shoulders coming out here. Since he's crouched, he's got his head projected forward here. That's the way we want to imagine it. So his shoulders are going to be up here because his head is in a kind of a crouchy kind of position. So we've got that. That's going to be the end of his shoulder here, and that'll be the end of his shoulder here, just like we did before. And let's move an arm out then. We're going to come out with an arm like that. Shoulder, and then middle part of his arm, and then there's the tip of his shoulder and the middle part of his arm there, and then here's his forearm as we did last time. That'll be where his forearm is. Good. And okay, liking it so far. And this time we're going to have those sort of Spider-Man hands going. He's always like, pew, pew, he's got some web shooters going on there. So we're going to show his hands cast backwards. And this would be like, this part of his fist. He's got a lot of twisting in his arms and hands here. So we'll put just a box to represent that for right now. That'll serve as a good hand after a bit. Okay, yay. Down here in his hips, we're going to show a kind of an oval shape here. And then we'll put one leg coming out like this, and to a kneecap. And then the other leg coming back like that. Oh yeah, that's the Spider-Man pose all the way. To his foot connection, and I guess we'll just show that foot sort of projecting back that way. That's all we need be for a foot right now. So let's see the other leg. Let's make that one going up in the air. That's good. So here's those, those 2 connecting parts for his leg, and this one's coming up in the air like that to a knee, and then his knee is coming down into his front part of his leg. And let's see, I think we need this foot to be pointing down like that. Don't worry about the feet. We'll sort those out. I'm going to change that angle just a bit here until it goes more like that. Yeah, oh, that's terrific. Okay. You with me so far? Hope it's not too hard for you. Let's thicken things in a bit now. So since we've got the end of his shoulder here, where we're going to be connecting things, let's bring his body shape down into his hips, like that. And over here, let's bring it back like that. Okay. And you can always change these as you're going. These little lines are just there to help you. Remember, you're the artist. You're the one that's got this in your head about what you want to do with this thing. So here we go with the deltoids again. The deltoids are always going to be there. This one is shifted up. It's got kind of an upward position here, that deltoid. And then over here we're going to see his neck. That's kind of like the back of his neck there, and then another deltoid out here, like that. Hazy, looking like Spiderman a little. I think he is a little bit. And then from the deltoid, we'll move up into his bicep. But the bicep is kind of obscured a little bit by his deltoid, since that arm is moving back. So we're not going to see a whole bunch of the bicep, but we will see his forearm coming back here. Like that. There's his forearm going back. And then while we're here, we've got that hand. That hand might be a little too big. We'll kind of drop that down a little bit. Just a little box is all we need. And so since he's got that arm twisted and his hand, he's doing that there. So we'll bring his thumb out. Do a little thumb there going out. It's kind of nice that you've got a hand right in front of you. You can copy it, your hand. And so we'll hook on a little first finger here and his index finger up there. And then you may see some knuckles here, like that. All right, let's go over onto this arm. And this time we see a little more bicep here, just because of our view of things. So we'll move that into his bicep. And then back here, and we've got the similar thing with the forearm that we did on our other sketch. Okay, great. And so I got to take a look at my right hand for this one. So he's got that pose. He's casting his arms back with that cool, spidey finger thing. So he's got a couple of fingers projected back. He's got that finger, and then he's also got his pointer finger, and then he's got that thumb that's up here and twisted back as well. Okay, great. Now down into his legs. Doing great so far, I hope. I'm going to put a kneecap here. And I'm going to put a kneecap here. Can you see Spider-Man yet? Oh, he's really starting to come alive here. So I'm going to do a oval here so that I can use that to connect it to his knee and swing that shape in like that. Okay, and then I'm going to come over here and do the same thing. This one, I think we'll start with the forward part of the leg, because the back part of the leg is obscured by what we're drawing here. So let's thicken this part of his forward leg and come down into a graceful shape if we can. I think this is one of the hardest things there is in art to do, is to draw people, or anything human, because all of we humans know what human beings look like. So it's pretty hard to draw anything that doesn't look like it could be a possible human position. Your eye wants to just say, nope, that's not right. And that's part of the fun too, I guess. So we're just kind of working on these legs here a little bit with basic shapes. So let's come down here in his other leg, and we'll make a graceful shape that becomes his leg, forward leg muscle. I like drawing Spider-Man because he's got, you know, so many possibilities of poses. He's really rubbery. He's a guy that really has contorted his figure around a lot, so you can get away with a lot. So his feet, here we go with that foot problem again. So we'll try to imagine this as kind of like a shoe, but with superheroes they sort of wear like, it's hard to say, kind of a boot almost. So I'm going to try to turn this in there. We've got a heel, and we'll come down into a you know, pointier shoe part here, and we'll see if we can turn that into a graceful foot. Okay, that might need a little more work there. We'll see. Alright. And over here, this foot is now going to be the one that's pointing straight down, so I'll go around what I've done. And once again, I mean, you can look at your own feet if you can see them around your art table. See how they're shaped. You've got this part of your, and then this part comes down into a shoe. Okay, so we can add a little bit of costume details here. That'll be Spider-Man's color change, where it goes from red to blue. And then over here we'll do another of his kind of like his, I don't want to say socks. What would Iron Man say? Hey, you've got your onesies, or what did he call them? Underoos, I guess, for Spider-Man. So he's got kind of wearing socks there. And then up here in this part of Spider-Man is another part of his costume change. But let's see, we better sketch this in a little. So we're working up here. We've got these nice muscles and things set up. He's awfully slender here. We'll see if that works out or not. He might be too slender. And I'm going to throw out his body here just a little bit more to make him look a little more muscular, I think. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's keep refining then. Up here with his forearm, and little flare out there where he's doing his thumb. So, you know, once again, you've got your own hands to copy. That's something I'm usually doing a lot of. And fingers. Trying to make them look natural. Okay. And a wrist. Move back into a wrist. Go around his head again. I might have drawn that head a little big. I don't know. We'll see. I think we can square his jaw just a bit here. So starting right about here, I'm going to square it in just a little so it looks like he's, you know, there's a real man underneath there, real guy. I'm going to square up that a little bit. Okay, so it seems that the old Spider-Man has smaller eyes, and when you see people draw Spider-Man now in the new Spider-Man, has a little bit bigger eyes. I like the guys with the bigger eyes, but just don't overdo it. So I'm going to come back here and try to start his eye shape. It's kind of like a shaped like a butterfly wing maybe. Okay, one eye, and then over here skip a little bit, that's where his nose will be in between, don't let him touch, and then over here as well. Down here someplace, I'm going to change his body line just a bit. Down here, there we go. We're going to see some kind of a Spidey, that'll be our little Spider-Man insignia. And I can just do a little starter version of that. Just draw a little spider guy there. Okay. Alright. Let's get rid of some of these lines we don't need, and we'll keep going. Are you doing alright? You need a break? Sometimes you can get a break. When I'm drawing things like this, I wonder, is it going the way I want to? So I'll get up from the art table for a bit, and I'll go, get a Coke or something, and then come back, and usually I'll have fresh eyes when I see it again. Another thing I like to do is turn it backwards and look through it and see if it looks good backwards. And sometimes you can pick up errors that way, kind of by reevaluating your work, taking a look at it. Okay, so he's looking good. I'm going to do some other costume details here. I'm going to come back here. He's got a color change on his shoulder tops, and so that's how we know where to go. It's on his deltoid muscle, where his costume goes from red to blue. So I'm going to do his costume. This will all be red, this will be blue, and then he has this neat little, this is old school Spider-Man, I guess you'd say, but there's been so many different costume changes with Spidey over the years. I think sometimes he even wears black. I'll have to dig out some of my old comics and see what he's wearing here, but for us it's the kind of the classic Spider-Man original costume. Okay. Original recipe. So here we go. I'm going to keep on refining and this bicep here, and okay, and then we're going to move that out into his wrist here. Might see a little wrist bone kind of coming up, that bone right there in your wrist. You're going to see a little bit of that, a little bit of a bump, and you might see a little wrinkle here where his fingers are contorted a little bit in his hand here. Refining that finger. And then this part of his, I guess you could say the joint of his thumb. Okay, great. You satisfied with yours? I hope it's coming along. Just be patient with it. And I'm going to make his knee just a little bit bigger. And come around, I'm going to do some more lines that are a little heavier now. I'm kind of thinking about where I'm going to actually make my final outlines. So give him a little more leg muscle. That's kind of neat if he has a lot of... Spidey needs good leg muscles. He's got a lot of jumping to do. So down into his leg again. And okay, I'm liking that. I hope yours is doing okay. Alright, we have got a great looking Spider-Man. These eyes can be kind of delicate to do, so I'm just going to give myself an idea about where I want to put those and how thick they are. That's where all of his expression is going to be, in those eyes. Kind of neat how superheroes have white eyes, isn't it? They're so mysterious. Okay, well, we can outline a little bit about where his web will go. His costume has these cool, I'll put a little bump there on his elbow. His costume has these cool, like, lines on it that are spider webs. There's one glove, and then out here we're going to do another glove. Okay, like that. And so we can kind of plot where his webs will go here on his costume. So if you put swing a little shape like that between his eyes, you can go up and put the first web, okay, and then he's got another web that comes down and meets that, and then over here he's got another web, and then there's a connecting web here, and then this web comes down like that, and like that, and then a little bit of a web there. If you don't get these right, it's not a big deal. It's just a web, kind of a shape. And so we'll connect those webs with, these kind of interconnecting lines here. And then we'll do another row of them up here. And another one right there. Okay. And then if you have room, put another one in there. Same thing for these webs on his hands. We're kind of placing his hands here in its final version, and so his web goes right up to his fingertip, so it follows the contour. If he's twisting, it goes up his arm. Just kind of neat. I don't think I ever noticed that. Okay, so those webs go up that way, and then they're going to have their interconnecting webs too, like that. And I'm always refining the shape as I go. Okay, and then over on this side, there's that kind of top neck muscle. I forgot to show his collarbone area. So if you feel your own, like right underneath your chin on your chest, there's a collarbone. So that's where his collarbone would be. And let's get back to our webs though. So up to the tip, like that, and then you can do some interconnecting webs on his hands. Okay. Down here on his costume, then we'll clear up. Use your art gum eraser here. We'll get rid of some of that we don't need, so we can see our webs a little better. Okay. So this is flaring out from where his head is. So we'll firm up that head, and then these webs are coming down from his neck. Everything kind of radiates from his neck and head, and it takes the shape of the muscle. Do you notice that? Bring the web over that deltoid like that, and then over here, same thing. We'll bring the webs over his deltoid on that side, and then these parts of the web come down like that, till eventually then they're straight, or more or less straight down to his costume there. Okay, so these webs connect to in a spider web pattern. So we're going to go and connect these pieces of web around like that. Oh, that's so neat. And okay, and still working on the web here then. Trying to stay graceful with those web shapes like that. Okay. Well, we are looking good here. I'm going to go around and firm up my lines. And this is the time when I sometimes change things around a little bit now that we've got a view of like what the whole thing would look like. Work on that finger a little bit. Yeah, I think that little finger's a little too long. We'll shorten that up a little bit. What I love about art is it's something that you can do your whole life. And for me, I know as an artist, it's been a constant thing where I always feel good about what I'm doing. I'm always trying to improve. And even if I've got 10 minutes sitting someplace in a piece of paper, that's when I usually start doodling. So I think we'll firm up that spider design there on his chest. Do a little bit of that, and then let's see. Looks like he's got some legs on that. I think 2 forward legs and maybe 2 backward legs. Something right about like that, I guess. Okay. And I'm just refining here and thinking about what I need to do to, yeah, okay. And it's okay to take a break sometimes and walk away from it for a minute, especially if there's a part of it that doesn't look right. Come back to it later. And I don't know why feet are so hard for me. Are feet hard for you? I don't know why they, especially these superhero feet. Are things still hard for me? Yeah, you bet they are. And I think that's part of the fun and the challenge to think that, wow, I didn't think I could draw Spider-Man. That looks way too hard. But once you have a plan of attack, once you have a method like this, you know, our basic shapes that we set up here, and you end up drawing something for the first time, it's just quite amazing. Okay, so I like what I've done, and I'm going to go now in to kind of a finish mode here. I'm going to darken things in, and I'm going to shade things in. So I think I'm going to go into super speed at this point. Okay, so I'm in a pretty good spot, I think, and I hope yours is going along well too. I'm using the art gum eraser the way I like to sometimes to pull some little highlights back and make them white areas again. Cuts right through your pencil lines here, and maybe across there a little bit. So I hope you enjoyed drawing Spider-Man, and I hope that you keep with it, you stick with it. It's like anything worth doing that's difficult. It's so rewarding and so just liberating if you can get good at something like drawing, and it just takes practice, like playing the guitar or getting good at video games or whatever other effort you're trying to do. So, excuse me, having said that, I'm glad you came to the art room today. I hope you had a good-looking Spider-Man and a good time drawing superheroes. So remember, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, you've got something to be proud of. You're an artist. Stick with it, and we'll see you back here next time in Mr. Shay's Art Room.